stand tall. Words are blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited minds sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the vibrant lore. Diving deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. In the ring we stand tall. Words of blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall. Words of blades that never fall. Debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean. Spirited mind sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night. Join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Diving deep in the search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance. In this arena there's no chance to escape the fight by law. Diving deep in the search for more.
Spartans! What is your profession?
What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another stream, another show, another night. Of course, you know where you're at. You're at Spartan Institute Network. I am your host, the Spartan, aka Peter. How is everybody doing tonight? So, we're going to have a great show with an interesting topic. But I've got to do one little thing. I got to bring my little guest in. He's going to be complaining about little Groot, get your ass in here. There we go. David, you know I'm going to tell you. Turn your camera on.
Ladies and gentlemen, what he did not understand when he played the Groove song, he get my logo.
You've reached your limit on talking. Shut the fuck up.
Form laid the middle finger. The problem is, we African, we're not little. We're bigger than everything. So, he had to play
Yeah,
the
okay.
right tune. So until then, the more he played the groove, the more he get my logo. There you go. Now we on even playing ground.
You're never going to be an even playing guy. Let's get that straight.
You'd be surprised because Groot don't resonate with me. And who know me very, very well, they'll say, no, this is not a Groot. That's a walking nightmare. So that's a different story.
With a bad breath, too.
Nah, not with a bad breath. It's more like a bad temper.
Anyway, David,
When I lose it, it's bad.
what is going on tonight, my man? How are you?
I don't know. I'm just taking every day as it is. When
Mhm.
I see BS, I try to strangle it.
Anyway,
Mhm.
all right, let me ask you a question. When you hear man of man, legend, legacy, and icon, what are the first words come to your mind? Oh, please don't hurt yourself thinking.
No, because that phrase in this nation will make anyone think. Man of men, legend. The question that I ask, what is considered to be a real man? Do these men exist in the United States these days? Those legends who are real men of masculinity, what happened to them? Why were they taken out? I'm telling you right now, this title right here, this had been I can't call it echo chamber, but this is have been talked about for the past couple of years. Because when you say men, the word men is not a simple word to play around with anymore because some are not considered to be men. The people out there in that particular group are considered adult males. They're not men, but adult males. So men of men legend. Those was here during the 80s and the 90s. In the early
I'm going
2000s,
to disagree with you because there are still a lot of man of men these days.
yeah,
I
and
finish what you're going to say.
they're very few. Very,
I'll
very,
give you
very few.
yes.
Let me see. I'll look at Samuel L. Jackson, who have been consistent what he has stand for, and he not about the BS. I will not call Will Smith. Will Smith not a man, so I'll leave him out of that one. Hmm. Who can I call a man of legacy? Michael J. White. He's a martial artist and an actor, but a male role model, big time. He speaks truth and facts. Uh, Going to the podcast arena, that would be Kevin Samuel, but not a lot of people agree
Mhm.
with me that he part of men of legend or legacy. Hmm. Hello, Coach Bird. How you doing? Like I said, there's not a lot of great men legends out in today's time because we're in an era they want to rewrite what man's supposed to be.
All right, before we move on, let's get this guy in here. Coach, what's going on?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
Not bad yourself, man.
Solid topic, man.
All
Hey,
right.
growing man, you got that man of man beard going on, man. Make sure you hold on to that for a while, man. Just keep it nice and grooming. Yeah, that brings a balance to your face, man. You've been more cool since you were more relaxed since you had your beard like that. Uh, just listening to the conversation, man, it's a different, I don't know, man. I look at life sometimes, maybe I overanalyze it. When I see words, I always try to bring some context to them. The Bible has legends. A lot of cultures who glorify great saviors of their I guess their race or their culture. They're legends. We didn't see them, but we heard the story. And to me, a legend story goes years beyond their existence. So you can look at anybody in the Bible. Jesus is a great legend. You know what I'm saying? But he also was apparently he was a human figure, so he was a leader in a sense. He didn't choose to be a leader. He was a leader because people followed him. They trusted his word. An icon. I'm an icon, yeah. I don't look at men as icon is something that's people glorify in the moment to me. They haven't. They still here. You could say Muhammad Ali was an icon in his time. But he's still alive. Even now, today, he's a legend. So I just look at things like that, and movies. All of it's utopia to me. The Superman, the Batman, all these. They know better. That can help me believe I can save the world. So I look at it like that. But that's all fake anyway. That's all something that man created. You know, who step outside their own, I don't know, their own world. It gives a man to escape and be a hero. As far as, leader, again, some people are made to lead. Some people are born to lead. Over time, we see we man in these spaces. Oh man, I'm a man, and I built myself up, so I should lead regardless. Yeah, maybe. Or you just put in a position, and I'll shut up after this. One of the greatest default mechanisms to be automatically placed as a leader and be able to show your greatest skills as a leader is when you have a child. Once you have a child, like I'll just use my own father. I don't think he was, you can't predict the future, but he led me in a way when I was young with no regards to how I feel, no regards to, whether I wanted to or not. If he said get something done, he expected it to get done. And as I got older, it were certain things that I know I wanted to do just because I wanted to and based off what I learned. And I think that's where a lot of, even for myself, I tried to do things a little different from my life as a father to my son. Some things I stayed true to. You have an expectation while you're young. You're going to be uh, respectful. You're going to go to school. You're going to do your work. I don't care how hard you think it is. Come to me. I'm not dumb, so I know all of my multiplications all the way up to 100 to 12. 100, I know how to conjugate a sentence, write a subject, verb, noun agreement. I know how to do those things, so I'm gonna expect my child to do that because that's not just for me. That's for him in the long run, and that's part of being in America. You go to school. I want my son to play sports. I'm gonna show you how to get in the 3-point stance and do those things, but those things are by default just me being in close proximity and having that type of relationship. So I don't know what he would call me when my time is up. Hopefully, it's one of these names here. And as we're looking back over my father's, years, and even when we had our ups and downs, I would give him two. Well, yes, two of them. Well, three. He's always been a leader to me, even his struggle. I looked at him growing up as an icon because he's always worked. He's always told me to do the right thing, even when he was doing the wrong thing. And I think I will appreciate his story even more 10, 12 years from now. That's just me. As far as other people, Muhammad Ali was probably my greatest Um, he was one of my heroes back in the day. See, I think hero could be somebody that's in the moment. He was my hero. Some of my coaches were my heroes. Some of my friends, who I got inspiration from. Those are my heroes. But they're just men. So
Okay. Let me guys ask you. Go ahead. If you guys want to say before I ask a question. So the first question I want to ask you guys tonight before I play the video is what qualification defines a true man of man in today's world?
Integrity, accountability, responsibility, being stoic, consistency. I recall Mandra did a show about it a few years ago on the Black Men on Show, talk about men and masculinity. And that is something that's not being talked about in a while. Everybody talk about I'm a man because yeah, but what is the real key foundation of being a man? Because if you ask other ethnic group what a man is, they will break it down on multiple levels, based on their upbringing, based on the sense of duty, based on the sense of work ethic, based on the sense of accountability, based on the sense of responsibility. Are you the type of man they can rely on when case of things get tough? You put your foot down. You really step up to the plate and take the heat. During Coach Ford era and Paul Bennett era, being a man was completely different than being a man right now. If you want to make a distinguish on that one, and looking at that time, whew, they had to build men for a specific reason because if you don't have that strong foundation, or how you want to call it, you have that strong backbone. When put comes to shove, just for it to come up, how will you approach it? How will you stand up to it? How will you show up to it? So there's a level of quality and character that dictate what a man's supposed to be. And I will say this for everybody who watch this channel or watch this broadcast: no woman can tell what a man how to supposed to be a man to be, but that's not in their DNA. I'll put it like that.
All right. Before we move on, let's get Alicia in here. With my button. Here he is. Alicia, what's going on? How are you?
Hey, what's going on? How's everything going?
I'm bad. Did you read the topic before you came on?
Yes, but please explain in where we're at with it.
We're just opening. We just literally just started.
Okay.
So give me your opening thoughts.
Okay. So this one I was kind of like thinking more about because I'm not really quite sure on where to go about with this one.
Whatever you ease your mind. The floor is yours.
So hold on 1 second. Sorry.
I want to ask a question.
Stop. I'm on the line. Hold on. Sorry, guys.
You're good.
1 second.
hey, let me go ahead and answer that question, Grooming, while she's talking.
Yeah, go ahead.
What was the question again, man? That's the question.
What qualification defines a true man of a man in today's world?
Today's world, that's
Yes.
interesting that you said today's world because, again, I think it's fluid in today's world because you're going to have situations where just like being a general, right? Or just someone in charge in the military. I look at life as like a military method, right? The general doesn't answer to anybody when he gives orders. He runs it by the team. The team says yay or nay. And even then, he still has to make the harsh decision to do what's best for the overall group based outside of what he feels, right? And I just look back again in my own life, some things my father did, he did what was for the greater good. And sometimes he did things that were selfish. Look, I say it's selfish, but it was for his own self. It was for his own self. And I think today, we've gotten so caught up in this gender thing that being a man is becoming uncertain. Men used to be certain about themselves, how they walk, how they talk, how they respected other men, how they were around the women. Now, men, They move with uncertainty because in America, they're really speaking in a space where men can't be in control of their lives. And that's the downfall for any man of any race, especially young, because I look at America as classism too. Most white guys that come from hardworking parents, my Gen X parents, most of them don't have the same work ethic as their parents.
That's
Most
facts.
don't. And and those that have children say that they was Gen X parents and they had children, their parents are even lazier. Their parents crash out even more because that's the way America's pushing its men because it continues to allow a small group of men have most of the control. But those guys are leaving. They're getting old. Donald Trump guy, that 80-year-old, 90-year-old, 79-year-old, that was sort of, I guess, civil rights area. A lot of those adults are leaving. Yeah, they living longer, but they getting close to the end. And the way America's pushing the rhetoric, and that's why I think I'm glad for the shift. And I'll shut up about this. I'm glad for the shift in America. Think about it. I'm an African American, served in the military, who didn't want to go to the military, but ended up going. Went to college, been locked up, come from, a father who owned a lot of his own pain. Two-parent homes is the best. Come from sisters, but still find a way to continue life on my own terms because I didn't blame the condition I was in. And that's why I take words serious because when I learned the word aspire, create, innovate, believe, I took those words serious. So everything I've done, even the stuff that I had to go through with, and I didn't want to, once I came out of it, I believed I could still be in a better space. And a lot of that messaging, like I said, came from my father. Don't accept no. Be respectful of the elders. Like grooming you my age, I respect you as a brother. This sister, David, I respect y'all as people. But if y'all got disrespectful with me, I would say what I have to say, and then I wouldn't be hanging around you no more. That's the way I always took people outside my home. See what I'm saying? Even I'm talking about from a young age, I've always had the understanding that if you're always telling me I can't do something, and you're always trying to think you're gonna bully me because I ain't believe in bullying, you ain't gonna put your hands on me, and you telling me I'm weak and this, at some point we're gonna have to come to heads. And I wasn't gonna waste years and realize, oh man, grooming been mistreating me after 10 years. No, I know that shit in 10 days. And
You
once
know
we
that
have
after
our
five
little
minutes.
but see, a lot of young men and young women don't understand that because the information my father gave me, he gave me information about the world. See, when my mother talked to me, she talked to me about life, not just people that she know or her feelings. That's why I love Generation X parents, man. The white kids, man, they was the realest one because their parents did not play. They did not play. They put the expectation up here, and if you don't want to do that shit, we cutting your ass out the wheel. Now everybody, well, their feelings, but you wonder why your sons and daughters are 35, living with you, taking all the future money. Then the daughters, they over still coming home begging, talking about, Mama, can you pay? No, pay your own shit. But that's me. But when my parents set that standard early for me, I didn't and I had 5 sisters. None of them became teenage mothers because my father was like, whatever, the hell with everybody else. And that's all I think we got as today. We all worried about feelings, and the poorest people worry about feelings, and that's the problem. So I'm sorry.
So, Alicia, you go next. Let me just say something, and then we'll swing back to David. So, you're 100% right. Everything you said. Like,
No,
today's men, I use that way of air quotes. Shut up, David. with air quotes for a reason. I will say most men, they don't know they get disrespected to 5 years later, 6 years later. Me personally, I'm like you, Trey. If you said something to piss me the fuck off, I'm gonna pull you on the side, man to man. Like, listen, yo, Trey, you know, the comments you made about my beard, it's not cool, bro. You know, we got, I'm like, I'm using an example, of course. I'm like, but
I don't like your beard anyway.
hey, not everybody can have a fucking awesome beard like mine.
Yours look better than mine, so I don't like it.
But my point is trying to get to, you says, I know it's example, I know it's a stupid example,
No,
but
it's
example,
good. I'm just
I'll
making
pull
fun.
you on the side and have a conversation. Me and David, like right before the show, we almost got into it, but we were respectful about it, weren't we, David? All right. So Alicia, you got the floor. Go ahead. First of all, you good, right? You don't anymore. Everything okay on your end? You're muted. You're muted.
Okay. Yes. So, speaking of what just Coach Ferg said, it kind of relates to the growing youth of our men. Like, just as this is all happening, because there's something that I had to choose tonight for my young man who is going to be 15 years old. I actually had to just choose to intervene in a conversation between him and his girl as a friend and this new boy as a friend. And it really was like, should I intervene? But then I'm like, you know what? My son is not a grown man. Yes, I intervened because it just made me think he doesn't know what he's saying right now. His younger years are still here. He's not paying attention to who he's saying it to and what he's saying. He did get mad at me, which is why I just recently had to get off because he was mad about something that I did say to the other people in the group. And that took a little bit of a attitude on his end, but I decided to go ahead and intervene. And I did what I did. He's not old enough yet. He still talks like a young, immature boy. And he still needs my guidance in that area. So that goes along with, like, yes, at first I was like debating what to say, like, on this topic tonight, because I really didn't think much about man and what they feel and how they see themselves growing up, like who are our leaders and stuff. But the more I thought about it, I'm actually raising a young man to hopefully have a good generation growing up, and I know that's not easy in today's world. So I'm trying my best, and it just really makes me see what can he become? What can he become in today's world?
Alicia, hang on. Let's go straight because this is expertise, actually. Go ahead, Coach.
So, ma'am, is your son available to come on this live stream?
Actually, bring Tyler in.
Reason why I asked you that is because, one, I don't want the message of man to man to get interfered, and to me, I have to go straight to the source to sort of give it because you as mom, you love him unconditionally. I don't love him unconditionally. I can only give him the truth.
Yes.
In the respect of it, but it has to come from me and not. Could you just ask him though? See what he says.
Yeah.
Time out. Let's back up. First of all, Alicia, are you comfortable with Tyler?
Yeah, are you comfortable? Yeah. If you're not, then don't worry about it. I'll just talk to you.
Oh, we can turn the camera off. You don't want him on camera.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want him on camera. No. Mm-mm.
Okay. So we can do mic only if you like.
Yeah.
Oh, you think he'll be open to that?
Oh, he loves to express how he wants to feel.
Oh, well, tell him.
Bring him
go on. Tell him. Come on up.
So you bring him on. I'll give Coach a little update on that. This is because me and you have been working on Tyler, correct?
Yeah. Let me see how it's going. I'm gonna put myself.
What's his name?
Talk to him and come back.
What's his name? Hold up. What's his name first?
Tyler.
And how old is he?
14.
When's his birthday?
February.
Okay, he's a February baby like me. Please go get your baby and tell him Coach Ferg want to talk to him.
Okay.
And brief him that you let us know about the situation that just happened.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
So, Coach, you understand a little bit of backstory on the whole situation with her and her son. I actually been involved with Tyler for a couple of years now, as not as a father figure, more as a friend trying to help a friend, if that makes sense. he
Yeah.
has got a very disrespectful mouth on him sometimes. He has even called her the B word a couple of
I
times. And I looked at him
understand
like,
that. I understand that. I understand that.
no.
That,
What I was
but
going to say, I gave him the tough love like you want to do.
but I
And
don't give tough love, grooming. I don't give tough love. I don't. It may seem tough to grown people. I
I don't think
promise
it
you.
is.
No, listen. I promise you. When I talk to her, watch. It's not about
It's
tough
all you,
love.
bro. This is your,
It's
hey,
not about tough love. That's why I
this is
wanted
not
to
the
speak to
Spartan show. Now
him.
it's the coach show. I see.
No, no, but that's why I asked questions about his age
Yeah.
and where he's at. That's a peer pressure age.
Yeah.
That's an age where kids
One
are
thing I know,
influenced.
me and Alicia had a conversation. He's not a leader. He's definitely a follower. And we're
But
trying
you
to,
can't say that. You don't know that. You
that's
don't
what
know that.
we're
He's
told.
hold up. He's 14. He's still trying to figure out what type of draws he go put on tomorrow. He's still trying to figure out if a girl like him or not. He's
Good
still
point.
trying to figure out if he wants to be a man or he wants to put on some high heels. All of those things are going on. He might even listen. This is the new age of man grooming. This is that new cycle. That's why the topic right here is falls under him needing the messaging that I'm talking about. That
Yeah.
let me tell you, 14, man, you know what I was doing at 14 back in 1983.
Please.
Started smoking weed, and I've been having sex for at least 6 months. And the girls asked me, and it was a regular thing. I
Mhm.
couldn't drive, hadn't had a moped, walk everywhere, I played sports, basketball and football. I was good at those, but I'm just saying, man. And I didn't even have all the pressures that young men and young women got today. But when I started working with young men and young women, 14 and under, I'm talking, well, under, you know, and 14 today is like 45 in the stuff that they done had going on.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, he just right at that age where he
I
needs,
totally agree on that. Yeah.
man,
But
if
I
I
also keep forgetting the one thing I keep forgetting, and I'll give you the floor one quick second, David. It keeps on forgetting my generation, what I grew up was a little different versus yours and his. So I need to keep reminding myself the 2025 generation can swing anyway or identify themselves as a dog, cat, pigeon, or whatever. Don't get me started, David. Don't get me started.
that was
So
loud.
yeah. So before we move on to back to Alicia, let's get Mariana really fast. Your opinions about the topic tonight.
I just got tuned in. I'm sorry. Um, what is exactly we're talking
Man,
about?
man of man, legends. Man, that's my topic. What is it? I just had it here. Too many screens. Man of man, legends, legacy, and icons.
Men and men, legendary icons. Like,
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Do you need a minute to marinate that before we move on? It sounds like you need to think that for a minute.
um, yeah, I mean, men in all different levels, like father figure, um, brother, husband, like, whatever the case is. But also, you have to, sometimes if you need advice, I always will come ask my father for advice because he, been many years on this planet. Because a lot of the wisdom come from him. So sometimes I don't even have no knowledge, and I have to ask for advice, whatever the case is, because sometimes it's better off asking the words of wisdom coming from your father.
Mhm.
Because you have to, you go through a lot of stuff in life. So, and brother, sometimes I had to ask because sometimes the brother's going to be very protective of the sister. And, sometimes they could, sense the vibe like, look, like, this is not how you're going to talk to my sister. Like the brother's going to always step up.
Totally
So,
agree. Yeah. All right, David, really fast. Give me your thoughts so I can get Tyler.
I would say that I'm glad what Cole first said that because the age 13, 14, 15 is the age for a boy need to be under mentorship under strong men. You either have the boy club, you either have all type of program where you train young boy how to be men. Today's society are a anti-masculine society. Like they're trying to tell us they don't want masculine men. They want feminine men. They want weak men. They want men with no backbone, men with no spinal cord. And yet, while they're pushing out BS outside this country, other nations trying to build strong men.
Why?
So you can imagine that. I tell my sons, I hate to say that, I might be brutal with my son. I'm telling him the real fact, what the world is like. Coach Further, I understand the real world very, very well. They don't give two shit about men. If you don't build your foundation now, before you step outside your parents' door, the world will chew you and do you dirty work than Diddy does his own people. No pun intended. That's the harsh reality. But today, young kid, they think they know it all. If I have my way, I will kick their ass out, close the door, and say, come back after 10 years until you understand what your father be trying to warn you. I know it, coach changed his head. But sometimes tough love, like Sparta, like you have your introduction video, they need that now these days.
No,
Because
no,
sometimes
no, David.
David,
No,
it was a
I'll push
video
back.
of
No,
Nation Times.
I know,
no,
but
David. No,
not you
David.
saying no.
No,
I know you saying no, but sometimes
no,
they need a dose of reality. A
no,
reality
David.
check.
No, David. No. You act like you wasn't that rebellious kid. Come
No,
on, man.
honestly, I wasn't. I got off my witness. I'm not gonna lie about it. I wasn't a rebellious kid, but for some parent reason, I always do the back and call my parents asked me to do, and I realized when I did that too much, they take full advantage of it. That I will be honest about. I wasn't a rebellious kid, but with that kid, well, you tell me, that, and I would do it, but it seemed like it wasn't enough. I went through the ringer, real talk. There's some people come with it, even people who have gone through what I've been through, whereby you got no childhood. You don't allow to live like a kid. You live early. You have so much responsibility at a very young age. That was me. So I get it. I was babysitting at a very young age. I was doing grown folk that I was cooking and cleaning and then some at a very young age. So I get it. I spent 7 years in the motherland. I came back. When I realized people are being too lazy, how they too easy, I start to have no pity for lazy ass people.
But David, it, it,
I'm just being honest.
but
I
but
wasn't a
but
toy kid.
but your life is predicated on the chapter, on just the chapter of the show, right?
You're right.
You were groomed to be a man by a man.
Pretty much.
Makes a big difference. Makes a huge difference. You had the bosom of mom and the stern discipline of father. It helps you along the way. It helps you, and that's why even in this conversation, man, it's first of all, Miss Alicia and Tyler, listen, man. First of all, Tyler, I'm Coach Ferg, man, and I just want to say, listen, it's a pleasure. I feel honored the fact that you even showed up. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Listen, I appreciate you showing up. And I don't know if your mom, I told her to brief you, well, I asked her, I didn't tell her anything. I just asked her, one, could she bring you up based off what was going on just a few minutes ago. So, and reason why I want to do that, because I want you to see it from the eyes of love and not, being sort of, I guess, overbearing or not allowing you to be a boy who can transition into a man. That's why I need to speak to you specifically. And I just want to thank her now. And I hope you will listen to me with open ears and open heart, because I'm not speaking to the person you are right now. I'm not. I'm speaking to the person that 14 to 24, you could probably be greater than whatever's in your head, 10 times greater than whatever's in your head. 10 times greater. But there are certain things that you're going to have to do, whether you feel it. Well, if you talk, when you speak to your mom and you speak, say, I feel, don't do that. Get away from that mindset. Say, I believe or I think, because that's what you do. You think things or you believe it, or you don't believe it, but not how you feel. Because when you come out to the world outside of your mama's home and you got to deal with myself and grooming and brother David up there with that big old avatar, we don't care about your feelings. And I say that again out of love because I'm speaking from a mind that you're a young man, 14. You probably went, and I can walk. Tell me if I'm wrong when I say something. Between the last 2 years, your shoe size probably grew two times, 2 or 3 times, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you probably grew about 4 or 5 inches. How tall are you?
5'8".
5'8". So you're pretty tall to be 14. Pretty tall. Now, do you have your own room?
Yeah.
Man, you got it good, man. You eat all the food you want?
Yes.
Dang, you can still got it good, man. You got it. When last time you went shopping for something for yourself?
I don't know.
Has it been a long time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who buys? Who
Oh,
buys?
mom buys it. I don't buy it.
See, again. So right now I'm adding up 3 for your mom and 0 for you.
Yes.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to, do you have a bike, skateboard, anything,
Oh,
moped?
I have an electric scooter.
Oh, electric. Okay, so that's 4 for mom, 0 for you. Now I'm going to see if your points add up to 4, right?
Yeah.
14 years old. Let me ask you this. Do you clean your room every day? At least keep
No.
it tidy?
No.
Okay, so that's -1. So I challenge you, man to man, stranger to boy, counselor, coach to boy, athlete. Start focusing on your space, making sure your space is always in a comfortable mindset. Meaning, all your old paper wrappers, take all that out your room to the trash room. If you got a sweet vacuum, do that. Organize your clothes, organize things in your space. Okay, so now that's 1. So 4th grade, how many subjects you have at school?
I think like 11.
No, don't think. You know.
Oh, seven.
Oops, I gave him the answer.
7 subjects.
I
What's
gave him
your
the that one.
no, listen.
Elisa,
You
stay out
good.
of this.
No,
Okay.
but hold up, but she's good though. She corrected him, which is good. He know it's 7. He's excited. I understand this. Listen, man, you okay. So you haven't cleaned your room, so that's one challenge. Start cleaning your room regularly, 4 times a week, maybe a thorough cleaning on the weekend. Make sure all your and with cleaning your room, your dirty clothes have to go in the appropriate place. That they have to. That's just part of being a man and becoming that's how you start gaining independence and trust because you're taking on the responsibility as the group. You're the protector of you and your mom. Outside of you and your mom, you ain't got to. I don't know who else. Other family members. They ain't that important to protect like your mom. Part of that protection is again making sure you're doing your part around the home. Also, now that you say you have 7 subjects, what's your favorite subject?
Social studies.
Social studies. So social studies is dealing with people around the world, not just in America, not just people in their feelings, not teenagers in their feelings. It's dealing with people. It's dealing with how to commerce. It's dealing with how to be creative and work and exchange of goods. You provide a labor. You're 14. The only thing you can do is clean your room, maybe cut the grass, take out the trash. All of that's labor. Shovel snow at your neighbor's house. They give you a couple dollars, 10, 15, 20. All of that's part of labor. That's all you can do. Now, social studies. What's your second favorite subject?
Science.
Science. Oh, okay. Science and math. Now, is math a good subject? Do you do okay in math?
No.
Well, listen, I'm going to tell you like now. Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
If you don't know math, you'll be broke for a long time.
I do
Because
know.
you won't know how to add up your money. You don't know how to pay your bills out, then scatter your money out and still keep money for yourself. You'll blow it all.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, you 14, right? You still in school. What grade you in? 9th grade?
Yep, this year.
Okay, so school just started. So here's the thing: whatever the hell you did in 8th grade, that's over. You in
Well,
the 9th grade, you take math serious this year. Take it serious
yeah.
because what it does is, as you develop math, PEMDAS. You know that formula,
Now,
PEMDAS. Okay, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, addition, subtraction. Uh, no, parentheses, exponent. What's that? Division. No, multiplication. Parentheses. Help me out. Parentheses, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. That's the formula of math. That's the order. You do everything in parentheses, the exponents, the multiplication, division, uh, addition, subtraction. So just remember that formula. Write it down to the top of your page. Follow that order in math. You'll always be okay. So now, do you play sports?
now,
Okay, so I challenge you to play a sport. Do something. Get that muscles moving. Get that mind to think freely. Because when you play sports, your mind just breaks away from, your slow friends, the pressures of somebody trying to think they bully you. And I have a mindset on bullying that you don't let nobody touch you.
I actually do theater. I don't do sports. I do
Okay, so
theater.
theater is even great. So now when you go to theater,
Yeah.
I want you to believe that your ass is ready to win the Oscar with your next performance, and you perform it at a high level because you can go to college at theater and make millions of dollars early. But here's the thing: the laziest actor don't get the job. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to
Yeah.
be willing right now because you're 14. You got a chance to just sort of create a whole new vision. But here's again, when it comes to mom, she don't see all. She's looking at all four corners. You may look at two. So if she say yes, sometime respect that. Follow the rules of whatever she set forth. If she say no, listen. A genius asks questions. A genius asks questions. So that means don't question everything your mom say. When you go to school, you question everything the teacher say. When you're around your friends and they talking stupid and slow and come on man, let's go over here and harass somebody and mess with something and steal something, you say hell to the no. Why you want to do that? Because if you don't, you'll get the negative omen may not affect them, it affect you because you being the follower. Am I being too hard? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I said anything that hurt your feelings yet?
No.
Because see, I'm a challenger. Okay, so any classes you failing?
Uh.
Yes or no? Because most people when they failing, they know and they give me a long pause. So
I
say
didn't.
yes.
I didn't start school. I don't start school till like Wednesday next
Oh,
week.
okay, so good. You starting with a clean slate. This is even better. So now here come the tough coach first. You get your behind in that school and you get on them class and you get on the class work, stay on top of it, make yourself proud at the end of the quarter, end of the semester, and you can still be a tough guy. See, this is where guys get confused. You can be a smart tough guy. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Meaning that you're smart and people don't mess with you and don't try to bother you because you stand up to that punk the first time he tried to mess with you.
Yeah.
That's what being responsible is about. If you see him messing with well, if it ain't your girlfriend, be careful. But if it's somebody that's your friend, y'all cool when he ain't around, he come around, he harassing her, let him know, may no harass her. That's my friend. But here's the catch though. The biggest respect you can give for yourself and your family is always respect your mother.
Yeah.
Always. No woman, no man, no money comes before her. Now, if she leading you down the wrong road, then you're going to have to make a tough decision. I'm not saying because I don't think I'm not talking about a mama that leads somebody. No, if she's trying to say, "Hey, I want a better life for you," it's not going to always care about your feelings in that moment. If she raises her voice with you, Hey, sometimes they raise their voice in the heat of the moment because it's serious. Not if I keep yelling at you for 30 minutes, but if my father yelled at me often when I was on some dumb stuff. He let me know that you on some dumb stuff, boy. Get on out of here. But that's part of being a parent. And your friends, if your mom overheard them talking stupid, she has the full autonomy to step in and say, hey, stop talking stupid. Don't bring that around my son. She has that autonomy because a lot of children don't get the parent who's going to be engaged like that. And as you get older, go into your latter years of high school, you got your grades, you're acting, the school would be like, oh, we got a great student. Let him be on our listen. I'll challenge you again. As being an actor, if do you like acting?
Yeah.
So if you like acting, I challenge you. You try to get on every piece of exposure from the school that you can. You go to the person who take pictures for the yearbook. Say, listen, anytime you want a model student for the ninth grade, I'm your guy because it builds a portfolio also, and it's nothing hard. You're doing something that you like. But again, it takes discipline. You're gonna have to challenge yourself. Physically, can you do 50 push-ups?
No.
When I was 14, I was doing 120. So I challenge you to get up to 40. At least by the Christmas time, you can show somebody you can do 50 push-ups. But again, I may be jumping the gun. I may be doing too much. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say, man. Life as a young man is like a roller coaster. You up and down, you twisting, you all around. It's a never-ending learning journey. But the earlier you can grasp hold of that from and your mom told me you're a February baby. And
Yeah.
this is what's gonna keep me from coming through this screen and grabbing you by the neck. When your birthday? What day your birthday on?
The 25th.
My birthday's on the 8th. That's why I said that. But I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't jump through the screen grab your neck. But we're a February baby. And the fact that what happened?
She dropped off. She'll be right back. Give her a second.
Dang. I'm sorry, man.
She doesn't have a great internet service company around her area, so she probably lost connection for a second.
I'm over here. I'm over here getting worked up, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say 5 minutes and I'm gone, man. Where you at?
You can say as you want to. You're cool,
No,
bro.
man. But he sound like a good kid, man.
He
He's
is
just right
already.
there at that age.
He also gets influenced by other people too. That's the thing.
But peer pressure's always been big around that age.
Yeah.
He just had to have some consistent messaging to say, hey, be different. Let's do something different. Because when you're doing good, your friends try to pull you away from doing something good because they want you to be the follower. They need somebody to follow. And that's why I'm trying to get him to sort of leapfrog that time. That's peer pressure's a month. But, I think he'll be okay. Hopefully, what I'm saying, he, at least heard a little bit. I said a lot, but this is what I spent my career doing with young men of all races, of all colors. And they just need to say, I can do it. And they need to be challenged because I'm going to follow up. Shoot, I'm going to be on it. I'll probably know his grades. Yeah, I'm going to follow up. But I just want him to see that he can do it, regardless of the situation at home, peer pressure. There's certain things you must do as a man. So 10, 20 years down the road, he's living independent and self-sufficient and being a product, a positive, influence on his
I
own
totally
life
agree.
and
I'm not.
society.
That's why
So
I'm not pushing back one bit. I 100% agree with you. 100%.
no, I'm
All
just
right.
I'm just
Yeah,
talking, man.
Mariana, would you got any feedback on this? What Coach just said? I want to hear a female version of it.
Feedback. Well, it's good to have like a male role model, especially a guy that young age, 14, because he needs guidance. If he doesn't have guidance and then, have his friends influence, like, oh, don't listen to your mom, what your mom knows, you don't need that. And then he end up doing the wrong direction in his life. He needs somebody that tells him straight up, okay, like, this is what you should do. Like, not, you're not going to be like I'm not expect to be like a straight A student, but to be a decent student in school, but also to be a great son, like to be, to listen to your mom, what your mom tells you, and listen to what the teachers tells you. Like, do not be like rebellious, which is very crucial because it's important to have, especially guys at that age, they need to have a male role model or a male mentor. Uh, because if they don't, they lose track. And I understand he has friends, but sometimes friends could influence saying this or and trying to undermine and manipulate, telling you like, oh, don't listen to your mom. Your mom tells you to clean your room. That's your own room. But yeah, but your mom paying the bills here, paying the food. You had to listen because you're living under her roof. So it's crucial, especially young teenage males these days. They
Mhm.
need a role model, and they need also a father figure in order to have a concrete of like have everything's on hold, like make sure they follow. Otherwise, they end up making wrong decisions in their life, and they don't have anybody to guide them. You need somebody to guide you to know that they know the difference between right and wrong. To know that listen to your mom, stay in school, make sure you don't do anything
Sorry,
wrong.
guys.
No,
It's
you're good. You're
okay.
good.
Here.
Sorry, my phone overheated.
Okay, happens to my phone
Sorry.
also. That's okay.
Um, yeah. So, coach, you want to jump back in, or you want to move on to the next subject?
Sorry, coach. My phone overheated. It shut off.
They can't hear each other back.
All right. So, I think coach walked away for a second. Marion, finish what you were going to say really fast.
Um, as I was saying, it's especially young men these days, teenage men and young men from the teens, like from 14 to in their 20s, they need to have a male role model, a strong male role model or father figure to guide them. Because and also, they need to be, guide them, but also to know not to fall in the wrong trap, not to go something and then end up in
Mm-hmm.
making wrong decision after wrong decision. They need that. They really need that. They need that guidance. So it's very crucial.
All right. Let's get a point here really fast. I just got in here. So, let's get, ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our president.
Okay.
What's going on, Paul? Yeah, you're muted,
I
bud.
can
You're muted.
hear you.
Just got to take care of this echo. Just give me a second.
Yeah, do you think? Coach, Tyler's back on the line. Do you want to finish what you were going to say
Uh,
earlier?
uh, not. I guess I hope if he heard what I said, hopefully, what I'm saying, he just embrace it in a, some capacity. Listen, I'm just an old ball guy. You don't know me, but I'm looking at 20-year-old Tyler, 30-year-old Tyler. There's certain things that you can take advantage of right now to definitely propel you for a long term. So yeah, man, listen, you're at a crossroads, man. 14 is a complicated time in your life, man. Hopefully you just, continue to just ask a lot of questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions, man. Like I said, a genius asks questions. So just ask a lot of questions. And if you don't believe that your mother can answer those questions, man, Sparta's up here every Tuesday, man. Come to where the men are. And they'll give you a different perspective, man. They'll give you something that at least will keep you honest and keep you hardworking and keep you, from falling into a lot of pitfalls that young men fall into, man. So I just thank you, man, for allowing me to have the time, man. And I thank you
Yeah.
too, Alicia, just giving him, what I'm saying, just bringing him up here and,
Thank you so
hopefully
much.
I didn't offend him.
Oh no, not at all. And I was thinking, I'm so sorry. The phone like overheated and died on me.
Oh, that's okay. But Tyler, I'm gonna
But
say this and I'm gonna shut up, Tyler. I'm gonna be checking on you throughout the school year, so Don't make me pull up at your school, because if your mom put me on that list, I can show up. And no, I'm just messing with you. But yeah, I'll show up though.
No, I know somebody who will show up.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Pete.
Even Tyler knew.
All right, Paul, you're up, my man. The title
thank you
tonight
again.
is the title is Man of Man, Legend, Legacy, and Icons. Your open thoughts.
That is way too broad. Where am I going with that?
That's up to you.
Man,
The first question we asked tonight.
Say the title. What's the title again?
Man of Man, Legend, Legacy, and Icons. I like throwing the hard ones at you. Make you think a little bit.
Again, it's like an ocean you gave me. So again, what do you want me to go with it? You have men who've obviously been very famous and infamous during times. I think sometimes we idolize a little bit too much. A lot of these men that we idolize are flawed human beings, just like everybody else. They just were either in the right place at the right time, or had certain gifts or abilities or talent or power or whatever it was. But, you can't just look at somebody just in sort of just one way and say, okay, yeah, that was a man's man. And I've learned, the older I've gotten, a lot of the folks who I would call heroes have disappointed me over time, which is one of the reasons I try not to idolize people maybe the way I once did, saying, hey, that person, that's a great guy, or he was such a great this or that or whatever. And then sometimes you find out stories later on where, it's complex. They may be very good publicly, but not necessarily very good privately, or vice versa. So again, how do you measure greatness? And unfortunately, a lot of times we measure greatness by things that, quite frankly, aren't valued in today's world. And I'm not one of them. I'm not a war guy. I've become much more, I won't call myself a pacifist. I think you definitely need to be ready for anything that comes at you to defend yourself, your property, your land, your family, your country. I'm all for that. But a lot of people in history that people tend to idolize were essentially merchants of war, of just deleting other people because they wanted something that someone else had. I no longer look at those people with the same level that I used to, because my stance on war and violence has certainly taken a drastic turn over the years. But a lot of how this world has been shaped, unfortunately, has been through violence. I think I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Everyone talks about, what's a man's man, and the times when we define men's men, that was generally during a time when war was an imminent part of your reality, at least in this country, to maybe till about 50 years ago, where either you were expected to be drafted and go into service, whether you went to a war zone or not. That depended on the times. But if you grew up anywhere between the 1914 to 1974, when they ended the draft, your whole life as a man, it could possibly lead you to that destiny. Now, the last 50 years or so, we've been in relative peacetime. And so, and just like with any society where peace is established for the most part long-term, people start turning towards other pursuits that don't necessarily involve violence or dominance or conquering or what have you. But it's just interesting how we idolize these people. Napoleon, or just pick your ruler, Hannibal, pick whoever you want to pick in history. People want to talk about how great they are, but they were great because they conquered other people. So so to me, again, this is something that has sort of evolved me. I've been watching a lot of videos and looking at a lot of things when it comes to like just war and just war theory, which was actually pioneered by St. Augustine back in the 4th century, where he started talking about it. And even if you look at the tenets of just war theory, there's like 7 to 10 points that are listed there. And you could look at almost any conflict, even in American history, and you can ask the question, was the cause just? So so again, I mean, when you start looking at these things and looking at humanity the way it is, I'm not sure, or at least I start to question more and more how we judge greatness or manhood. Um, but I guess my views are more simpler. I think a man is someone who is able to live independently, to have certain controls over his life, at least what the society gives to that individual. So in this country, you have a lot of latitude in terms of the life that you're able to have and the choices that you're able to make. So I'd certainly believe a man is one who certainly optimizes and maximizes that at baseline, to live independently, to handle your own affairs, to handle a checkbook, or people don't have checkbooks anymore, but to manage your own affairs in life, and you take some as much agency as the society will give you in your life. I think that's a baseline for manhood. I think manhood is being a father, raising your children, being available for your children. I think a man is being a good husband to his wife. So my criteria is not because you can be a billionaire, you could be whatever this society is going to deem you as being a man's man. But as I've gotten older, there's certain things that I would envy or desire in my younger years, I no longer desire anymore. I desire certainly a close relationship with God, to be more Christ-like in my walk, to love my friends, my family, to be of service to the people around me, and to be purposeful in the world with the gifts that I've been given. And I think that certainly for me, that defines manhood, or what people would define as that. But a lot of people, you can put anybody up. Again, people who I admire to an extent. Martin Luther King. If you're an African American, you're going to have a lot of admiration, but in his personal life, not the greatest guy. So how do I judge that over in history? How do I judge a man like that? I don't know. But, I don't tend to, like I said, I have very few people who I put on my wall as people who I put up there like that. There's figures in my life that were like that, but then you found out certain things and you just realize they were just human beings. They may have had a few more gifts than I did or opportunities than I did, but they're still men at the end of the day. And the only thing I encourage any man to do is, again, to be better. The 4 areas that me and Coach talk about every week: physical, intellectual, emotional, spiritual. Get better at that every single week. And then let the results be what they are. But yeah, I mean, you didn't give me a direction, so I just kind of took it there.
I'll give you one other question I asked earlier, so maybe get you a little better mindset. What qualification a true man of man in today's world?
I just said it. So first and foremost, I think a man is one who is able to have some agency over his life, to live independently. I think that's a floor that takes you from being a male to a man. Males, just like females, operate off of men. Males think with their Johnsons, and females think with their emotions. Men use logic, have purpose, and look to improve the world around them. Women, not females, women have purpose, have discipline, and they look to improve the world around them. Males and females are dangerous. And so my baseline is go for a male to become a man and to do the things that are required, not just what you want. It's the same thing I talked about last week when you talked about passion versus purpose. Mm-hmm. A man pursues purpose. A male pursues passion. Now, if you can marry those two things together, that's great. But a male will always choose his passions over his purpose. A man will deny his passions in order to pursue his purpose. And so I think that's really where the criteria is for me. What is your purpose in your life, young man? It's great to have passion and whatnot, but how can you even turn that passion into purpose? And the other thing about purpose is that purpose always the net effect of purpose is that it always benefits others. Passions can be all about you. You can love sex all you want to. That's a passion. But what's about the purpose? So to me, that's where I'm at in life now. That's the criteria which I judge manhood. I want to see men who are about purpose. And that purpose involves others, not just feeding his or her own selfish desires. That's a male, that's a female.
All right. Let's play the first video of the night.
Personality of a person, the ways of a person, the thoughts, the deeds, the actions, it's all based around his heart. For what is a man? A man is his heart. A lying, cheating heart means a lying, cheating man. A loving, merciful heart means a loving, merciful man. A living heart means a living man. A dead heart means a dead man. Personality of a person.
David, you want to go first?
The late great Muhammad Ali, he have a way with words to make you think. Now, when he made that speech, I can tell to this day a lot of people don't really pay attention to the key word he was referring to. Talk about his heart. If Mr. Bennett may agree with me and put on the heart, what you build in your heart is what they project out of you. Whatever foundation that you have within your heart is the foundation you live by. When you say you are lying, cheating heart, then that means you are lying, cheating man in real life. If you are a man of integrity within your heart, it will show that out. The thing about what he was trying to point out, it wasn't a passion, it was a perfect, it was a discipline in play. Because anybody want to understand Muhammad Ali, he lived by his ethic, lived by his conduct, lived by his code. When people live by ethic and code, that derives from discipline or being steward or having a purpose. So the reason why I say my definition of passion is not the same as purpose. Passion is tied with emotion. Everyone have passion. Men and women have passion. You can have passion for anything. For along that passion is tied to your emotion, that passion can be volatile. It's not steady. Purpose is what keep you consistent. It's what keep you focused. What keep you locked down to make sure you achieve a goal. But when it comes to building a man, men come with purpose. Men come with discipline. Men come with structure and order. These words are not words to love. Oh, I love how. No, these words come with a level of work and ethic and building and tearing down the weed from the tears. If you understand his boxing career, Muhammad Ali was no joke. The man trained, the man studied the art. So when he made that statement, that's what it called to check yourself, to look at yourself. Who are you as a man? What the purpose, what the foundation was given to you that you have to live by? Because we take it today time, I hate to say it, as more potential adult male convert into men because they were given the instruction, they were given the discipline, they were built up to blood, sweat, and tears. A huge majority of males who become adult male remain adult male because one, hard work is not a thing for them. They don't like such things. Structure is not a thing to them. They don't like these things. I was hearing Coach Ferd giving that advice to the 14-year-old Tyler, who was no different when I get to my 15-year-old son. By add a little brutality, I think if you don't change your ways, you keep that same pattern. By the time you turn 18, you won't go out and get a job, and you lack the work ethic. People are going to see it. It's going to project itself out. What you practice in your heart come out through your flesh to your pores. If you don't have a sense of discipline in your core, what makes it you able to get it by the time you get out in the street, out in the real world? Coach football. I'm sure he coached boxing too. No different from Mr. Man with weight training and boxing. If you don't have the discipline, tell me how you will execute it. It's not possible. I played soccer. I had to train for that. I played basketball. I had to train for that. I did powerlifting. I had to train for that. I did Shitoryu karate. I had to train for that. I did about maybe 6 to 8 sports in my lifetime. Each one I had to train for that. There was no shortcut. There's a lot of hard work took years to get good at it. Sometimes I gotta train extra at home. Math, I had to train for that. I had to make sure I'm the best of the best of the best in my class or something like that. I didn't believe in second choice. So I was forced to think that way. Today's young boys, they're not driven to be the better version. So when I say this generation is the track generation, I'm talking about the majority of them, not talking about the minority of them. There's a very few minority will break away from that path. They don't want to be associated with that path. Either based on their parents upbringing, they have a father in the household, or they got a strong uncle or male role model where you don't play that. How many boys out here don't like to be coached to the ringer? They complain about it, they get too emotional. You recall that video that BMU put out there when he was coaching football? How these mom was trying to immaculate their son? That's the thing that this body. Why? If I was to get into teaching martial art out there, no way to the man, not here for this, not here for somebody. I'll be brutally about it. So when you're a real man, a situation come across, and there was a crisis, something to get fixed, or something to be repaired, something to be protected, how will you approach that situation? Everybody say, oh, I'm a man. That's not going to do your actions speak for yourself. That's how I know what a man is based on your actions, not by your mouth. That's my thought.
Coach, you're up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
What was the question again? Because it's so.
Oh, it's video, actually. You want me to play the video again?
Yeah.
All right, give me 1 second to get it ready.
I saw it. I just don't know where my head is at. Oh, yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah.
Personality of a person, the ways of a person, the thoughts, the deeds, the actions, it's all based around his heart. For what is a man? A man is his heart. A lying, cheating heart means a lying, cheating man. A loving, merciful heart means a loving, merciful man. A living heart means a living man. A dead heart means a dead man.
Go ahead, Coach.
everything he's speaking from, you know what I'm saying? He's speaking from a perspective of a man. You know, one thing I appreciate about the Islamic religion, it sort of makes you gain a greater understanding of what it means to be a man. They put a lot of responsibility on you to be the man, as the word says, be a leader, be a fair leader, you know, not to cheat, not to do all of these things that could be, I don't know, considered breaking the law of the word. And yeah, you know, I can use my own life. When I was out there doing foolish stuff, I got foolish results. You know, when I was younger, doing all kinds of stuff, I got foolish results. You know, I'm just glad I had enough wisdom being given to me by listening to people like Muhammad Ali, by listening to people like Dr. King. We found out all this about Dr. King 60 years after his death. So until I see it, I just don't. You know what I'm saying? He's been gone since before I was born. So all of this personal stuff, does that take away from the people who are in our leadership position, who are leading us, the egregious stuff that they've done? It's just amazing. But again, being a man, it all depends on how you was taught to be a man by a man. Like, some of us get it early, some of us get it late, some of us never get it at all. But I still think, as far as everything he said is true about, so as you think it, so as you are. Because if you think it and you start believing what you think, and it's going every going against everything righteous, what the good books say, then you're gonna suffer. Has nothing to do with women, has nothing to do with your parents. If you're not trying to gain a better understanding of who you are and how important being able to make the righteous decision is, as a man, as a woman, you're going to continue to make dumb decisions and take the control of life away from you. I do want to, Mr. Bennett said something, right? Mr. Bennett. Now, I believe God was a violent person when he needed to be. Just when you spoke about the wars, I believe I don't look at, I never idolize people in the sense like, oh, they're above man and making dumb stuff. But I also believe that the ultimate warrior to me would have won with, as far as man image, would have been Jesus. And God, he didn't spare nobody when he brought down his wrath. He didn't look at it as a gender. He like, okay, everybody acting foolish. Let me reset set the playing field. So his violence is Trump, and it's in the Bible. People led with wars using the words of the Bible. Some of the greatest heroes were violent. So just interesting.
Mariano, you're up.
Um, from Muhammad Ali's perspective, I think what he was observing through his life, um, like if a man, if it shows, okay, if a man, it's like if it's heart, it depends, like if how a man will come, how is raised also, and how he was basically, how who guide him, who teach him. um you know of course, a man, but of course you have, from being, as the time you were, that when you were born, your father teach you the principles, and then as you grow, like a little, as a child and reach to a teenager, teach you moral principles and everything. But a man has to, you have to have a little bit of a, you have to fall in order to pick yourself back up, whatever the case is. I mean, a man could be, it's not going to be, there's no such thing as a perfect man. um you have to go through you go through life, whatever the case is. I mean, trials, tribulations. I mean, you also sometimes you have to learn from your mistakes. You know, if you did something wrong, you had to admit it. And sometimes a man will man up to what you did. Um, the thing is, this is why, you have people that you admired and you respect. But of course, you don't want to follow if somebody do something that's not totally, like disrespect. Let's say you could be a strong man and be disciplined. And then you see a man, it's not strong man, but not very lack of discipline. Um, it's what you surrounded with, like what you see in and out, people, all corners of life. But it's for me, it's to be for as a female perspective, as a female to see a male perspective, you have to be man, but like masculine, but you also have to be strong and bold, but gentle in heart, but also not to be like cold-hearted, like not to be, because every guy is different. They do a different approach. So that's on my take.
Paul, you're up.
Well, certainly, me and Coach, we may have a different view on this. And again, it could be very because I'm not a military man. Again, respect to guys who've served and sacrificed in the military. Have nothing but respect for those guys. I just think, certainly, like I said, in recent years, I just don't think war should be the measure of a man. And I just think that too many wars are fought for selfish reasons that have nothing to do with just war theory. And I just, so that's just not a measure of a man for me anymore. So again, no disrespect to the guys in the armed forces, but that's just not a criteria for me. And we can talk about Jesus and war and things like that in another stream. Obviously, this is the place for that. I just have different views in regards to that. But that being said, I can agree certainly with what Muhammad's saying, and I think it kind of aligns with what I was saying. That ultimately, again, what defines a man is again certainly based on his heart, his actions, his will, and what makes a good man. I think are certainly things that or some of the things that he said. But again, I would look at Ali, and respectfully, I will look at the Nation of Islam. So you can say that, yes, they espouse discipline in men and faith fidelity and things like that. Unfortunately, a lot of those characteristics were not emphasized by their founder, nor in Mr. Ali. All respect to him as well. So again, how do you judge people? Like I said, I'm getting out of the business of judging people. I'll talk about what a person has done, what his actions, what his deeds. So Ali, certainly what he stood for as far as standing up for his rights, speaking against the Vietnam War, his stances and whatnot, his brilliance in the ring. As a man, it gets more complicated. But we've seen certainly in recent years how a lot of men who have achieved and flexed in a lot of different areas, where if they don't get control of their passions, it's going to cost them, either in their wallet or in their status or in their reputations or what have you. And we've seen some of that as recently. I'm not going to mention any of the names. But certainly, all of that matters. And it doesn't matter. You could do this world as such, you can do a lifetime of good. And all you need is one thing to kind of bring you down. So again, men, I think, again, all of these areas, I think, certainly need to be addressed. But again, as far as what Muhammad Ali had said, I've shown you guys other videos where Ali talks about spiritual things and what purpose in life truly is and whatnot, and I co-sign on all of that. But at the end of the day, it still boils down to, again, discipline starts with you. It starts with the thoughts that you have, and then those are going to manifest, good or bad, in the world. And so getting hold of this and disciplining this is one of the first steps to being a man, is to have this under control. But if you let your passions rule you, it can spiral out of control very quickly, regardless of the success that you've garnered.
Alicia, you're up.
Okay, so I really did appreciate and like what Muhammad was saying, because I do believe it's true at times. Like, for a man to show what he really is, I feel like a lot of women are like, wait, I never saw that kind of person in so and so. But in all actuality, I did. Men do show what they are through a lot of actions, through their heart, through forwardness. It is right there on them. So I do believe a lot of, he calling a certain someone, like a lying, cheating, or even not just a lying, cheating, but also what good they have in their heart. You can see it all, I believe. It's just hidden sometimes, but I feel like it's out there, and men put it out there. And I know that some men, I mean, there's some amazing men out there that do show their true colors and what they want. Um, Unfortunately, there's also not great men out there, which is a big part of, from the young adults that are becoming men. It's a shame because, for example, like my son, he won't have his father in his life, and that's on his choice. But again, it's showing in him that my son does need a leader. He needs somebody to direct him as a good man would. And those are just important qualities for men to develop, because there's younger children out there looking up to them. And a lot of men, I feel, do not feel that way, that they need to, that they could just go on. And again, maybe it's about that they don't have passion in them to go forward or anything like that. But we're trying to raise young men, and without the help of men that are really taking it seriously, I kind of get stuck on this, as far as like realizing where you should be and what you should be doing as a man. Not to all men, of course. I'm not saying all men, because I do know that there's some great fathers. For example, one person I really look up to is my father. I feel like he's a significant part in my life for teaching me all areas. But again, I'm not a man. I can't be that man to Tyler. But we're lucky to have someone in our family that shows that kind of heart and shows what they really expect men growing up to be.
So his words to me are very fascinating because he uses his word a very specific way to hit the point exactly. Doesn't matter which way you want to take the message. He's one of the men I go say he's a man of a man. Yes, he's a different generation. You disagree, Coach?
No, just going back to what Brother Bennett said, right? It's easy for us to detect, to identify flaws. We can go to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is where sometimes that's a catch-22 for men, because nobody's perfect, and we're going to make dumb decisions. But even in making those dumb decisions, and if I'm showing I'll just use this example. If I coach sports, right, and I have a drinking problem, am I a bad man? I don't coach. I don't come to practice drunk. I
Oh
wait
no,
till the
if you're
week.
drinking at home, that's
No, I'm
no.
just saying. But when I drink, man, I'm getting drunk. I'm drinking till I pass out. But I'm going to the field. I'm inspiring my team. We win it. Am I a bad man in that regard? Not cheating or anything. I just have, I guess, vices that have control of me.
Well, again, to the point that I raised earlier, like, how do I judge you? I would say, like I said, I talk about your actions. I would say you're a great football coach who has a drinking problem. I'll leave the term good or great to others. Like I said, I'm out of that business. But unfortunately, a lot of times you talk about those vices, let that vice get out. You can undo an entire lifetime of helping and mentoring young boys if you showed up once to a game drunk or you did something inappropriate, whatever. A reputation can be destroyed in one instance. Because a lot of times, again, those vices sometimes do get out, and they they can undo that work fairly, unfairly. I didn't make the rules. So my thing would say this. Like I said, when I look at a person, I will say, look, great football coach, great motivator of young men. Took his time, but again, he has some vices that either and you hope those things don't spiral out of control. What if that same coach drunk one time, get behind the wheel one time, and even if you get pulled over for a DUI, and that's on the safe side, then again, how am I supposed to evaluate that? If I'm a parent of one of those boys and you find yourself in that situation, how do I look at you at that point in time? That's complicated. I'm not saying one or the other. I'm not saying you're a bad person or anything. Like I said, I get out of that business. I don't judge people as bad, and I just judge actions. And so again, but that's the complicated mix of this thing. We have all these elements to our lives, but they are intertwined, and sometimes those intertwinings can affect other areas. And so I appreciate the person who's talented but has these issues on the side. I can appreciate that. But when those things come up, and then people say, then that's when the judging starts to have, oh, well, you shouldn't talk about that. When you have these preachers and pastors and whatnot, when they get called out for doing stuff that's, ungodly, you will have their defenders and says, hey, he's been in ministry for 30 years. He did great. But then what about if there's a victim? Then what about them? Then what do you say to them? So again, to me, that's the complexity of it. And like I said, I tend not to get into those things, but I'll call a spade if I see it.
So you
All right.
compartmentalize a person, if, like you said, if he's a coach, you can say, oh, he's a great coach. But however, the things that were hidden that may not be true, you're going to just judge them on that. Which, listen, I totally understand that because, today it seems like a lot of stuff get mixed. But yeah, like I said, nobody's perfect. And I don't see anything wrong with calling out what the issue is if it's known. Yes, when it's known and you realize, oh, that was a bad thing. And yes, I can definitely see how, we see it all the time on YouTube. They find out something about somebody that's bad, it's on every podcast. Something that's good, you'll never hear it. But if it's one incident, it's broken down and dissected 52 times by the end of the week. So
Well,
I can
you
understand it.
have a good point there. Like, if it's not bad, nobody's gonna is as a good subject and nobody's gonna really talk about it on the streets. But when it's like shit hits a fucking fan, every single channel is talking about it. It doesn't matter who you are, you're talking about it. David, give me 1 second. You go next, okay? So it's ironic in a way. Why can't we identify the good stuff more than the bad stuff? Go ahead, David.
I'm glad you mentioned that, but I don't think you're missing the big picture. When someone do bad in today's time, or anywhere in the world, and it's being recorded, yes, they dissect it, they do podcast, they do review, they do reaction about it, and they talk about it for either 4 weeks or a month on end, which is true. But on the same token, depend on the level of good you do. If you do something good and it's in a big way, people will criticize it and trying to say either this is cap or that it's fake, or that it's publicity. Perfect example, Mr. Beef, when he went to Africa and make a mission of creating 100 well plus, or he giving out free surgery. People were criticizing why he was doing that for. When you have people doing things out of the country, how building home for the people who need a home or they lost their home, and they do it out of free will. Some people go on social media and call it this is fake, this is publicity stunt, this is not for real, this is fake. We live in a society that don't believe in doing good, but more so believe in doing bad. Because if you do something good for somebody in any level that trigger their either jealousy or hatred or high level criticism, they want to defute or debunk that thing. Say that's not really happened. Like nothing good happened in this world today. That's what we have because let's be real, mainstream media created this environment of negativity. So much to the point whereby anything good, no one cares. Perfect example. You got a bunch of kids who aced the SAT that scored a 1400, 1500, perfect score 1600. They get admission to 5 or 6 Ivy League school. Now, I have no fee show up on my Facebook feed, and I like them. I'll repost them, right? No one said a word about that. But I share something negative. I'm happy when I see a kid ace their exam. They ace the SAT. They get admitted to several different avenues because they study hard for it. They put no. I love seeing those things a lot. But how many people will jump on it and say, "Yo, we need to see more of this"? We don't. People are not accustomed or trained to accept such thing like that. That's the problem we have in today's society. That's what I've noticed for the past 2 decades. If you see a bunch of kids come together and build a program, they want to help those in the community, do the mentorship to teach to educate their next level of peers. No one cared about that, but I will. I'll be like, yeah, carry on. Let me donate something. If for some apparent reason they train today's society mind just to harbor on the negative more than the good. If you have men build trade school, build program, you got Coach first, you got Mr. Bennett, you got BMU. You got a couple of people on these social media platforms who do things on the side for young men. Either they're training how to play football, or got into boxing, or showed them skills in construction or plumbing. Did they get a shout out for that thing, or they get paid for that, or to let support that program? A lot of people don't stand up for that. This is what I noticed because unless you want to harbor more or put in more positivity than negativity, you're only going to see negativity publicity no matter where you go. I wanted to say something about what you were talking about, building men. I know in South Korea, Japan, they have young men serve the military before they finish, before they enter college or after they finish high school. They serve like two
After
years
college, actually, they finish college
after.
first, then they go in there.
Maybe so, but I heard sometime before they even finish college, they still have to serve. It's like I don't know if it was random or based on how to go about it. Only for
The
2 years.
draft oversees how it works. So you're going in. If you're a male, doesn't matter
Hmm.
shape, way, or form, you're going in. You could be overweight or whatever. You go in. You go in right after college ends. So, for example, if you're graduated, let's say the 5th,
Hmm.
your letter's ready at your house. You're ready to report it to the police station because that's where you need to get your orders from. Then you report from there and you get all your information. So if
Okay.
you graduate the 5th, you will be already shipped out by the 10th. You only have 5 days.
Okay. Now
All one for your rush will be out.
we don't have that stuff no more in the dialectic. I know back in the Paul Bennett days or Mr. Coke First days, I think that would be the case. They were so every male so like at least what, like 2 years or so. At least you're not going out to war, but you do have some masculine training.
I think
You
it was
know how
4 years,
to
David.
4 years. Okay, it's four
Yes.
years. So you have some masculine training. You know how to build something. Either you can build a house, You can lay out the plumbing. You can do all type of things. They'll at least train you with real life skills. Today, time, such program is highly needed, but it's almost a scarcity unless you want to join the military.
Mhm.
These are real manly skills that build men. How come
The
we
old
don't?
military, the current military is very soft. Yeah. The
Okay,
reason I say that is they're still tough guys. Don't get me wrong. They're very tough SOBs. If you're going through special forces, all that, they're very tough guys.
okay.
What I'm saying is during boot camp, they're more relaxed what it used to be for Trey time, CQ's time, King Smith's time. Like for example, CQ's sister went in and she, hey, I just got here. I'm good. Right, I was good. Like before, it was you had a card, you had to read. My name is so and so. I arrived safely. It was literally a script. They have softened up a little bit because of the times we live in. But let's get in our final thoughts. I know Alicia told me she needs to get first, so let's get her in first.
Okay. First, I want to say, like, yes, this was a very good topic tonight, and I appreciate everyone's opinions and thoughts as always. And thank you again, Coach Ferg. I really never ever heard Tyler sit and listen like that in a long, long time. To someone that he doesn't know, give him advice, but he listened, and I could tell he took it all in. So I want to thank you again for that. I also want to go over for this topic again. I was a little unsure of how to respond and what to say about it, but it did prove to be a great topic, as there's many men out there that are men and they're raised by men, and you can tell that they are doing their best and what they feel that they should be doing. They're reaching the top of that line. So they are doing they are showing what a man is. And again, a man doesn't have to be a famous, popular person. I could see a regular person walking down the street, and they have the qualities that make them a man. And that's what I feel too, is also with our younger generation, we're losing more and more good men who take on the responsibilities and take on the actions as one. And I feel like that's where our youth is in trouble. So again, the men that are out there doing this part, responsibility and everything, I see you there and I see what you're doing. I'm just hoping for that next generation to step up and be the same kind as I hope the same kind of man my son will be, um, learning how to be and grow up and eventually be one of those great men out there.
So, Alicia, before you go, if you feel comfortable enough, you want to give us an update what's going on with you with your health? Because I was a little concerned.
Okay. Yes. So first, yesterday I kicked butt in my first chemo. We're hoping this chemo will work. So far is I'm back to eating. I'm still getting infusions, which is tiring me out, which is why I asked to go first, because the biggest part is my fatigue. That's the biggest part I'm dealing with. But right now, it's day 2 with my new chemo my new chemo treatments, and going forward, hopefully it's working. I see it working, and I just put the trust in God into that this will work and this will get all my levels back up, and I will eventually be able to live and enjoy life again. But right now, a little fatigue is just kicking in. Thank
I've
you.
told you 100 times you're going
Thank
to kick ass
you.
in that question. Coach, you want to go next?
Sparta, man, you know you always bring these interesting topics, man. I don't know
This is
if
why
I
you love me,
have
bro. This is what you love me for.
I don't know if I have the answer. I just give an answer. Again, you're gonna find out as men. Most of the time, our perspectives are different. Our life journeys are different. Or I guess evolution comes at different times in life. I just appreciate the messages I got from my father and my grandfathers and my mother. I just repeat those, respect those messages, because now I understand that regardless of what the world throws at me, I have to continue to strive to be a better person. And, I don't question it. I don't get asked too much advice on how to be a better person. I just try to help those that are, I guess, at a disadvantage, just whether it's age, whether it's just education, financially, just try to, give the best information I can. Even for me, when I'm looking for information, I understand that it's just a part of my growth, even if I use it today or next week, So, yeah, this man thing, man, there's no one size fit all. You just have to continue to be mindful of situations um, as you get older. Well, I can say is once that light bulb comes on, and that's why I appreciate again her 14-year-old son, because I remember being 14 and having all these crazy thoughts. But the two people that could always bring me back to center was my parents and my friends to some degree, because we never really talked down to each other. We never really said what we couldn't do. And today, it's not so much that we listen to the well, younger folk listen to the others, the peer pressure a little bit more. So again, man, I just appreciate just people who are willing to work to be better, you know, and that's the only way I've ever took my life, man. I do want to ask Alicia at some point, maybe Sparta, you can give her my information, man, and we can just have some communication regarding your son, because he's a good guy. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. It's
Yeah,
a
as long
lot
as
going
she's okay
on.
with it, I don't have an issue with it. Yeah, that's
So
fine.
it's a lot going on, and I
Just
just want to
let me know after the show if you which phone number and email you want me to give out, and I will do that.
the 872. The eight, however she would like to communicate. I know, what I'm saying. I want her to make sure she's getting her rest. I don't want her to be talking to me
Yeah.
because I want to be a part of. I want her to just be in the process of me connecting with him.
Yes. Yes, I
Being
do
there, just
appreciate that. Um,
So
yeah, especially since, he is dealing with a lot with my physical, mental, and emotional health. So health going on. So I know that's a lot for him to deal with too.
yeah. And if I can be of any type of assistance and vessel, just to assist
Yes,
him in managing those emotions
I
as
will
it,
definitely, I will definitely take you up on that.
Yeah, so Sparta got my number. You can just text me and just, tell me who you are, and then we can go from. Does he have his own
Right.
phone?
Yes.
So we can just connect all our numbers together and just go from there.
Yes.
All
What
right.
real quick, what time are you on? East Coast time?
Same times with
Yes.
us.
Okay, I'm on East Coast time. So what time you get
Yeah.
out of school? 3 o'clock?
Yep. He gets out at 3. He doesn't
Get
start.
home about 6?
He didn't start school yet, so he is home a lot now. School
Oh,
starts
okay.
on Wednesday, August 27th.
Oh, okay. Well, let him know I may reach out to him
Okay.
Thursday.
Yes, I think that would be good because he was kind of wanted to talk kind of on your own, like he did. He did not want me sitting by him. I think he just feels like I'm like right there on him. He actually wanted to. If I left, he would have been having probably even more of a conversation.
Okay, that's
Because
cool.
there's just times I feel like he wants to have that conversation and he
But
won't in
that's a
front of
good
me.
start. That's a good start. If he wants
Hmm.
to be ears and what I'm saying, and talk about some things that he may have questions, that's a great start. So again,
Yeah.
use my information. Let's go from there because I see
Okay. Thanks
something
again.
big. No problem.
All right, Mariana, you're up.
Okay. Final thoughts. Um, this is a good topic. Interest. This is a good topic to talk about. I think it's more important now. Um, that now young men they need because they need structure. You know, they need like a male role model, a father figure, a uncle, a brother, whatever the case is. It's important because I have two young nephews. They don't have a father figure because their father passed away. This is over 7 years ago. Um, one is 10, the other one is 13. Of course, they only look up to my brother, which that's their uncle. It's very crucial to have somebody that young men that they need in their life to give them, to spend time, but also give guidance, structure. That you need advice. It's very crucial uh, for a young man or a man's going through something, because without that they could get lost. Like I say, they need they need guidance. They need, let's say, if a young man, a teenager, cursing out the parents, they need to be disciplined. It needs structure in the house, and it's very crucial. It's something that it's we need that in our society. Without men, I mean, without a strong male role model, it's total. It's a total, like, I don't know how to say it. Like, it's chaotic, I will say. You need that guidance. You need that foundation. And it's very important. But other than that, um, that's all I could say. It need that.
Final thought. Interesting topic. I'm not gonna lie to you. When it comes down to manhood, this is not something that I play around with. We are lacking program in the intercity that help build young men. And I say you have a junior ROTC program in the school whereby they join military school, so to speak, or about a workshop where they can learn real skills like that will get their hand dirty, working on a car, mechanic, building a house, plumbing, painting, doing electrical work, something that will build work ethic because in today's time, a lot of these young boys are becoming weak minded, lazy minded, lack of work ethic. And if nothing changed about it, then you will develop a new class of lazy ass men who don't want to do nothing but get too emotional. I'm sorry. To all the young boy becoming men, I know you're not like it, but F your feelings. You know I say F your feelings because if you go operate by feelings alone, then you will have a long, long, rocky road. You have to learn how to manage your feelings. And I think you should not have feelings, but don't let it be whereby that's how you operate. You gotta operate with logic and sound reasoning, to be honest with you. When you have those type of skills, trade, ability to do things, you understand everything, those particular skills based on logic and rational thinking. If you go to build your home, build a house, you gotta be rational how that foundation gonna be built from bottom to top. If you're working on a car, same fundamentally. If you're doing electrical work, you're doing painting, doing something that puts you in a level of structure and order with a work ethic. You gotta understand you can operate based on emotion, no type of environment. Same thing with the military, it's no different. You got to suck it up. If they ask you to do 100 push-ups their way, yes, it's their way. You may not like it, but as time progress, it make you stronger. Unless you're just trying to be a weak ass man and come out and pretend like you're a man. Uh, the good old days, you just say that if you have beef, you settle out with your fist or you settle out in the ring. You have too many young men, or what they call it, YN, who feel that they're tough. All of a sudden, they want to shoot people. Like that make you tough. No, I'm sorry. You can try that over there in other countries. They will let you know the gun don't make you tough. They can take that gun from you anyway, shape or fashion, and use it on you. You at least suspect it. I'm getting. I'm not taking a shot at single mom, but it takes a man to build a man, and that is very, very biblical. Anything outside that, you feminize that boy. Because in reality, we need strong men to help build a society, not weak ones. And that's my final thought.
Yeah, interesting topic tonight. I think all of this, I think, is a product of the world as we have it. So, quite frankly, I don't want to see us going back to a uh, a warring world. I really don't. Um, but I think this happens in all societies, though. In any great empire, you become great by conquering people, and then when there's nothing left to conquer, you kind of lose your eye of the tiger, and you get taken out by the next warring faction. And that, unfortunately, has been how manhood has been defined for thousands of years. So again, and certainly in this country, we're in a relative peacetime, certainly on the ready, but this isn't even when 9/11 occurred. I mean, yes, you had certainly this sort of patriotic fervor that drove individuals to either sign up for the military or get more serious about some things. But um, in a peaceful society, a generally peaceful society, finding purpose and a reason to improve on those areas that we talk about does become more challenging. That doesn't stop the work from being done. You have to do these things. Young men, you do have to work on your physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual development. That's what defines a man. And so that process, yeah, that doesn't mean fighting anybody or having an arrogant attitude towards other people. But these are things that you need to develop. And I don't think that'll ever change, but the reason why you do it, I think, has to be more internal, not because there's a war to fight, or if there is a war to fight, it's the war that's within you, and that war is always to be better than you were, because the world doesn't wait for it's not going to wait for you. You have to forge and you have to make and in this world, but it starts with you. And as long as you're part of that ongoing development, as long as you have that restlessness to be better than where you are, or better from where your family was, then yeah, you're going to have difficulty in this world. So develop for your own sake, not for a nation, not for ego or status or what have you, but because manhood requires it. So that's all I got.
So this was an interesting topic that was unique. That's why I wanted to do it. But I think one thing we all can agree on is man of a man comes in different shapes and forms. Some are military, some are non-military, some are fathers, some are just teachers, whoever you are. But we as men have the responsibility to teach the next generation under us, and even the two generations down of us. And that's what makes our generation and the generation before us, or like like Paul's generation and David's. You guys from the 1800s, so you don't have to teach 6 generations. So that's one thing what I love about our team here, guys, is we all will teach whoever wants to learn. But let's get over our schedule and let's get the heck out of here. So where are we? Here we are. Tomorrow is Afro Samurai. David and Wally are going to be going Afro style. You better wear your Afro tomorrow. I hope you have one of those Afro wigs, David. I would love to see you one of those damn Afros back in it. I think Paul might have one he can let you borrow. And David, I'm sorry. Mr. President and Coach will have a show. I'm just waiting for the list so I can post that, please.
That's my bad. So I'm working on that tonight. So you should have the.
Give it to me by tomorrow night, and we're good.
Cool.
All right. And Friday we're off, and Saturday we're back with entering music of WWE, the best theme songs. So that should be an interesting conversation, guys. And we are having gray area starting this Sunday. Some shows are changing to 8:30. Gray area, the Spartan Arena, and Hangout will be moving to 8:30 because my work schedule changed. Except that, David, any final words?
Look forward to tomorrow's show and see how the conversation go. Because from last week's episode, we really were digging in a little deeper than what we expected.
Oh, just FYI for tomorrow's show, towards the end, I'm going to jump in because I have a question for you and Wally about anime. I want you to see your point of view. All right?
Interesting.
I'm going to sort of pot a little bit tomorrow night.
Give it a try. And I would
Coach,
say
you're
this:
up.
any woman out there who want to go into anime conversation, please let us know. Women are open to join the podcast
Yeah.
every Wednesday.
Coach, final words?
No, man, I thought I did, man. Listen, man, I appreciate the conversations, man. I use these things to learn and apply it to my life and maybe pass the
Hey.
word that I get from brothers like Brother Bennett, yourself, and David, man. Even, the two ladies up here, man. When I hear good information, y'all can best believe I steal it and I spread it out to the world, man. So, hey,
One thing I will agree on, all of us agree. We all learn from each other and grow. And that's one thing about our channel, our network, I love, is because not only we help each other and help others, we also grow as this channel grows. I think we all can do that. All right, Mariana, Mrs. Secretary, go ahead.
I have nothing else to say. I mean, the only thing I will say, in order to continue to have strong males, especially young men, they need to have a good male role model in their lives, because it's very crucial. And they need that guidance, because you don't want them end up making wrong choices in their life.
Mariana,
No.
moving forward, every time you hear that song, you start dancing.
No.
Last words, Paul, are you good?
I'm good, but I would love to see Mariana dance though. That'd be
That you cannot dance with that type of music.
So what do you dance to then? So what what music gets Mariana on the dance floor? We
All
gotta
right,
know.
I got one right here for her. Here you go.
In the ring we stand tall, birds of blades that never fall to
Oh my god.
When we use the anime
Are you
song.
serious?
All right, here's another one then.
lights flash, feel the bass, feel the
You got to move. Listen, I'll be here all night till you pick one. Just pick.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Don't quit your day job. You're not a DJ.
Oh, I know a DJ. When we get DJ Frank up here, I'll get his ass up here. And we know another one from the other networks too. CJ will come
I
up
know.
here if I ask him. I'll pay him for a few
I know
dollars.
the other day DJ Hemp. Me and him will go at it. Nerd versus non-nerd.
Alicia, last words really fast before we go.
Just a huge thank you to Coach Ferg for his talk with Tyler, and I can't thank you enough.
All right, guys. As always, I'm the Spartan. He is Lil Groot, aka Baby David, Coach Ferg, Mariana, the Secretary, Mr. President, and Alicia. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next
Black David,
Good
big
night.